There's a strange kind of power that rarely gets talked about. Not brute strength, not high intelligence, not charm or eloquence, but something quieter, more elusive. The power of being underestimated. In a world obsessed with performance and visibility, there's a form of strategy that runs in the opposite direction. It doesn't seek applause or admiration. It seeks freedom. While most people are busy projecting competence, trying to be seen, recognized, validated, some of the most effective individuals do the opposite. They blend into the background. They let others assume they're average, sometimes even foolish. But make no mistake, this is not naivety. It's calculated. It's philosophical. This is the hidden genius of appearing to be less than you are, and it's one of the most underrated strategic advantages in both history and modern life. The Tao Te Ching teaches us to be like water, soft, yielding, yet capable of eroding stone. This isn't just poetic advice, it's strategy. The greatest power often flows through what appears powerless. The sword that remains sheathed the longest is the one no one prepares for. When you hide your sharpness, your true strength, you escape the defenses people instinctively build against visible threats. You're left alone, ignored, free to move, free to grow. And when the time comes to act, no one sees it coming.
Throughout history, some of the most influential minds understood this principle. Socrates pretended to know nothing, asking simple questions, playing the fool in the marketplace, while quietly dismantling the foundations of Greek certainty. His method wasn't just about philosophy. It was psychological jujitsu. Miyamoto Musashi, the legendary Japanese swordsman, often dressed as a peasant and arrived late to duels, disheveled and unprepared. His opponents assumed he was undisciplined. What they didn't realize was that they were already losing, before a single strike was thrown. Even Leonardo da Vinci feigned disinterest in court politics, preferring to paint, sketch, or tinker, while secretly crafting war machines and decoding human anatomy in notebooks. To be underestimated is to operate in the open, while remaining hidden.
Modern psychology backs this up. There's a cognitive bias known as the primacy effect, our tendency to form quick impressions and stick to them. If someone seems harmless, slow, or unthreatening at first glance, we often never revise that belief, even when new evidence emerges. This creates a kind of invisibility cloak. You're there, but not truly seen. And when people don't watch you closely, they reveal more. They relax. They speak freely. They expose intentions they would otherwise hide from someone they perceive as smart or dangerous. This isn't manipulation, it's observation. And in a world where information is power, the person who listens without being noticed often holds the strongest hand. We live in an age of performance. Social media, corporate meetings, even everyday conversations. Everything becomes a stage. But there's a paradox. The more someone tries to prove their intelligence, value, or dominance, the more fragile they reveal themselves to be. Confidence doesn't always shout. Often, it whispers. Lao Tzu said, "He who knows does not speak. He who speaks does not know." When you understand this, you stop needing to perform, and that freedom becomes a kind of armor. You might think this doesn't apply today, that in a world of data, metrics, and constant evaluation, hiding competence is impractical. But in reality, it's more relevant than ever. In corporate environments, the loudest and most visible employees often carry the heaviest burdens. More expectations, more scrutiny, more pressure to constantly perform. Meanwhile, the ones who quietly observe, who don't chase credit, who ask naive questions, they learn more, they burn out less. And when the moment comes, they act with precision. Warren Buffett famously avoids the complexity many expect from a billionaire investor. He uses plain language, tells jokes, shrugs off his own genius. But that disarming persona, it's part of the edge. Of course, this strategy walks a fine line. There's a difference between strategic understatement and outright deception, between humility and manipulation. If your goal is to mislead for personal gain at others' expense, the strategy becomes toxic. It corrodes trust. And once people discover the mask, especially if it was used against them, they rarely forgive. But if your intent is freedom, freedom to observe, learn, and grow without unnecessary interference. Then the quiet path becomes a discipline. You don't pretend to be stupid. You just stop trying to look smart. And that's where the true power lies. There's a strange paradox at the heart of this strategy. The less you seek recognition, the more power you tend to accumulate. Because in the absence of performance, you conserve energy. You avoid conflict. You sharpen your skills without resistance. And when you finally do reveal what you're capable of, it's not just effective, it's undeniable. Philosophers from Eastern and Western traditions have hinted at this idea for centuries. Appear simple, act deliberate, move invisibly. In the end, playing dumb isn't really about pretending. It's about prioritizing depth over display, substance over spotlight. There's a quiet rebellion in choosing not to shine when the world demands performance. It takes strength to withhold your strength. It takes wisdom to let others underestimate you. So let them. Let them think you're harmless. Let them think you're slow. Let them think you have no plan. And while they sleep on you, you build, you learn, you prepare. Because one day, when it matters most, you'll show them who you really are. And by then, it'll be too late to stop you.